House Resolution 113 provides for a structured rule providing for consideration of H.R. 803, the Supporting Knowledge and Investing in Lifelong Skills Act, also known simply as the Skills Act. Mr. Speaker, today the House will consider the Skills Act that reauthorizes the Workforce Investment Act, WIA, of 1998. While these programs have continued to receive funding through the appropriations process, WIA authorization expired in 2003. WIA seeks to coordinate local employment services through a unified workforce development system and one-stop career-centered delivery system. Reforming the nation's workforce development system is critical, and in these difficult economic times where roughly 20 million Americans are struggling to find adequate work, we cannot afford to delay action any longer. Delay is costly for those seeking to find work. Today, many and underemployed Americans have turned to federal workforce education programs to develop the skills they need to be competitive for jobs. But instead of an easy-to-navigate, responsive system, many have found a complex bureaucracy unresponsive to their needs and concerns. In January 2011, the Government Accountability Office, GAO, identified 47 separate and distinct workforce development programs across 9 different federal agencies that cost taxpayers approximately $18 billion annually. The GAO report found that almost all of these programs were duplicative and overlapping, and that only 5 of these programs had had any type of evaluation, and that those evaluations had not been very effective ones. Through the Education and Workforce Committee's oversight of the WIA system, even more programs have been identified, and the true number of federal workforce development programs is greater than 50. We know this is a problem. We all agree this needs to change. President Obama recognized the challenge of the current bureaucratic system in his 2012 State of the Union address. Let me quote the President directly. Quote, "I want to cut through the maze of confusing training programs so that from now on people have one program, one place to go for all the information and help that they need." End quote. These are among the many reasons I introduced the Skills Act earlier this year. This legislation streamlines 35 duplicative federal workforce development programs and creates a single workforce investment fund to serve employers, workers, and job seekers. The Skills Act establishes a dynamic, employer-driven workforce development system by ensuring that 2/3 of the state and local workforce investment board's members are employers, and repeals 19 federally mandated board positions. This legislation expands decision-making at state and local levels so that these individuals can make the best decisions to meet the needs of their communities. The bill also addresses the administrative bloat in Washington by requiring the Office of Management and Budget to identify and reduce the number of federal staff working on employment and workforce development programs that will be consolidated under this bill. The Skills Act holds these programs accountable for taxpayer dollars spent by requiring annual performance evaluations and establishing common performance metrics. The bill also allows states to determine eligible training providers, simplifying the bureaucratic process that has forced many community colleges and other providers out of the system, and gives local boards the flexibility to work directly with community colleges to educate large groups of participants. Additionally, the Skills Act encourages these programs to focus on in-demand jobs and industries so that participants will be able to succeed in the workplace upon completion, and ensures that funds are spent directly on services rather than administration and bureaucrats. This bill improves transparency by requiring states and local areas to report annually on administrative costs. Each day we delay is another day employers are not hiring the workers they need. Another day unemployed workers are not receiving the best technical education. And another day taxpayer dollars are wasted on red tape and well-intentioned but broken programs. We have a responsibility to move this process forward. The time to act is now, Mr. Speaker. And with that, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlelady reserves the balance of her time.